y'all doing? Well, for this book review, we're going to go through an old classic here of The Circus of Dr. Lowe. I picked this up at a bookstore in Oklahoma City, which unfortunately closed down due to a tragedy that happened there. But I picked this up because it was related to an old movie I got to watch when I was a little kid, which is The Seven Faces of Dr. Lowe from 1964. This book here, I believe, was published in 1935. It is written by Charles G. Finney, and this particular version I have has illustrations as it's written, additional interpretations by Boris Artzybashev. And it's interesting about that. I'll get to in a second. Now, the story of this is there was a small town in Arizona back during the Depression era, and everyone was going about their normal days, except one day advertisements were going out about a circus coming by, showing all these different wonders, unlike any circus around. It doesn't have the typical elephants and lions and clowns and all this, but unusual type of creatures. The circus came by in only 3 carts. So there's Dr. Lowe, a Chinese man, being pulled by and the carts, 2 carts behind him, each has something different everyone thought was strange. One of them had a golden donkey on it. Another one was being pulled. One of them was being driven by a weird-looking man who looks like he had hooves on. The second cart there had what looked like a cage that no one could see through except for a silhouette, and everyone around town immediately was saying that it is a man, a bear, or a Russian. No one could decide which is which. One of them had the biggest snake anyone's ever seen in their lives, and that is just the start of the weird things that happened. The whole story goes through in the course of a day. The circus is set up, and everyone goes to town, and everyone has their different experiences. One lady who is a teacher, she goes up and, finding herself a rational man, gets involved with the satyr, who tries to seduce her. There was an adult show, which was a couple drunken college kids decided to have some fun around. There is they have a great magician, Apollonius of Tyana, who could do all these wonderful things, predict futures, and do all these great illusions, and even bring back the dead, so forth. There's a Medusa, who could turn people to stone. That's been causing problems as well. They also have a very interesting creature of a dog that's actually just made up of just plant. All of it is, despite what it how it acts and everything, it's just all made out of plant material, and all these and a few other wonders as well. As I picked this up there because I recognized this from the old 1964 movie, The Seven Faces of Dr. Lowe, and this one stars Tony Randell, who plays all not just Dr. Lowe, but all the people who are in the circus themselves. He played Apollonius of Tyana, the Abominable Snowman, Merlin Magician, Pan, the Great Serpent, and Medusa, all of them. Barbara Eden, the I Dream of Jeannie, is also in this as well. So a whole slew of cast. Now, the movie presents itself as more family-friendly fun. It doesn't take place in the Depression. It takes place in the Old West, still in the same town in Arizona. And it's one of those, when you watch it, you see people, you see good people having a good time, but see people you don't care too much for kind of get, not necessarily the comeuppance, but get a better reflection of themselves, So there's a lot of parallels, but a bit of a difference here. The part I found I keep referring back to that I like the most is about the giant serpent. Now, in the movie, the serpent is just a combination of both puppet and stop motion, and one of the characters who kind of pulling a sort of not a con or a scam or something, like he's trying to do something with townsfolk to help benefit him, and and while showing everyone else they don't have anything, other options. So he's trying to take advantage of them. He confronts this giant snake, which has his face on it, and they start chatting a bit about, the snake was nothing but ridiculing him because here, even though it's a snake in a cage, the guy there has astigmatism. He has to wear clothes all the time. And the snake is just ridiculing him, thinking he's ridiculous. It's very comical of that, but in the book, it's a kind of bit more horrifying and a bit more intriguing. The scene where there's a guy who works for a newspaper. Starts going to this, which not just a snake, it's a huge sea serpent trapped in this cage. It's both constrictor and poisonous. And it has a dark conversation. They seem to have an understanding of each other. The snake talks to him about killing a child, hunting down and killing a child, and and some villagers, and talks his adventures. They seem to kind of this understanding. Funny thing is, you look on YouTube of this book. There are some people making animatics. But what's the word? Just sort of make it animatics of that scene. It's very interesting. So, the format of this book is very interesting. There are no chapters. There's breaks between scenes. That's it. It's just a course of just one day. It's not very long. It's only about 150 pages. As I say, this one has illustrations and interpretations. I say it's best. Some of them do match the scenes that described, like the satyr and the teacher there. Others are a bit more surreal, like this one. And what I think what's interesting about these illustrations, even if they don't match even if one or two of them don't match the book, the weirdness that you feel from them is kind of, I think, is supposed to direct your feelings in the same way people are responding to the circus here. Dr. Lowe is just a guy who shows off his odd and wondrous creatures. He talks about how he's found them and everything. In the movie, he seems to be working by himself, and everyone, and there's just some of the creatures help him out. Others stay in their cages. In this one, he is just while some of them do this, he's also accompanied by other Chinese men who help out with the circus and everything. So, it just shows how many people respond to many of the shows are behind that. And there's a final one in the end where they all go under the big top and they have a big show on that almost goes AWire. But I will say this, without giving out too much detail, the ending is a bit anticlimactic. It just, after events, it ends, and that's the end of it. That's fine. I mean, I don't think that it's supposed to be unusual in that sense. One of the things I do find about it in this book is that it also tells in sections of all the female characters, all the male characters, and all the unusual ones, and even goes as far as a section of questions and contradictions and obscurities. So any sort of plot holes or unanswered questions you may ask, well, it addresses them too. So even just the food stuff there, pork chops, it goes in a weird sense of detail. But it's a classic one, albeit because it's 1935, if you're sensitive to some of the language that they use about other ethnic cultures and all that, okay, I understand, fair warning. But if you're not, give this a go. It's a nice little classic, The Circus of Dr. Lowe, and don't forget to check the movie The Seven Faces of Dr. Lowe, which is much more family friendly in comparison. There's a bit of haunting elements about this, some light elements, some nothing dreadfully serious, but definitely something that if you knew fiction at this time, this shouldn't surprise you. I mean, 1935, it's when Robert E. Howard was writing Conan and all that other stuff, so weird tales are nothing unusual. So, Circus of Dr. Lowe by Charles G. Finney. Check this out. Thank you all for watching. You have a nice day.